The day before Orion rang the NASDAQ opening bell, I was fired. I had stood beside Blake from the moment we were broke and wrote our first line of code in a basement studio to the day the company was worth $10 billion. Everyone assumed the title of Mrs. CEO belonged to me, Sky, by default. Yet the woman Blake introduced to the cameras as his better half was Brianna, the parachute hire who still thinks Python is a snake. All I got was a single-page HR memo slipped across my desk like a parking ticket. He even lectured me in front of the entire exec team, claiming my ambition was unladylike. Sky, you're too aggressive. One captain is enough on this ship, and a woman should act like one. When you finally learn softness and stop babbling about having it all, maybe I'll go public with us. So I'd already been downgraded from co-pilot to house pet in his head. Fine. Leash someone else. Don't come crying later. Before we continue, hit subscribe and drop a comment telling us where you're listening. I marched into his office the minute the reassignment email hit my inbox. Brianna was peeling a grape, lifting it to his mouth. She squealed when she saw me, and the grape rolled under the sofa. Sky, you scared me. Ever heard of knocking? His frown could have curdled milk. Knocking is business 101, or do I have to teach you kindergarten manners? I ignored the insult, strode over, and slammed the memo on his glass desk. Explain, Blake. Why am I being removed as CTO and replaced by someone who can't tell Java from JavaScript? He flicked a glance at the paper and leaned back, bored. Board decision. We're hitting the roadshow tomorrow. We need a face that photographs well. Look at yourself. His gaze traveled from my frizzed-out ponytail to the coffee stain on my hoodie. You show up barefaced, eyes like a raccoon. People will think we're filing for Chapter 11. Brianna's got an Ivy League MBA in Vogue Poise. She is the brand now. I laughed in his face. We're a tech company, not universe. I led the team that wrote the core algorithm. For 3 straight months we lived on instant noodles and 2-hour naps. You counted every one of those nights, remember? And now you want to hand my baby to a grape peeler? Brianna's eyes watered, she tugged his cuff. Blake, I told you I'm not qualified. Sky's a legend, she'll hate me. Maybe I should just leave so you two stop fighting. My heart can't take it. He squeezed her fingers. Nobody's leaving, except the person who refuses to respect the chain of command. He turned to me, all warmth gone. You're intimidating, Sky. Brianna can't code, but she knows how to make me relax. You only ever talk bug tickets and server racks, exhausting. Effective immediately, you're Director of Administrative Services. Book yourself a spa package, start thinking about ovulation schedules. That's your new KPI. Tech reports to Brianna from today on. Outside the glass wall, junior devs watched like it was Netflix. The CTO who once fired people with a nod was now the evening's meme. I inhaled, finger pointed at Brianna. And if I refuse? He stood, towering. Don't be dramatic. Without my capitalization, your code is ASCII art. Play nice and the title of boss is still yours. There's a victory gala tonight. Go home, change into something that doesn't scream IT help desk, and try not to embarrass me. He fished a black card from his wallet and tucked it into my blazer pocket like tipping a valet. Buy a Birkin, cheer yourself up. That quick swipe told me everything. I was no longer co-founder, I was a naughty puppy to be placated with treats. I stared at the man who once swore we'd split the world 50-50 and felt ice crawl up my spine. 8 p.m. sharp, the NASDAQ Victory Gala blazed across the penthouse ballroom of Riverdale's tallest hotel. I'd sworn not to come, but Blake WhatsApped a threat. The lead underwriters requested you. Skip it and tomorrow's headline is CTO resigns you. Ender cloud. Also, your parents' VIP ward at St. Luke's? Paid through next week only. Hallway cots get cold this time of year. He always knows which ribs to step on. I pushed open the double doors. He stood ringed by champagne flutes, custom tux flashing, already playing Mogul. At his side, Brianna wore the same black column gown I'd bought for myself last year, only hers was fresh from the runway, diamonds at her throat catching strobes like disco balls. My own dress, washed one too many times, looked like it had come from the back of a sample sale rack. Someone whistled. Hey, boss, your queen just arrived. He spun around, brows crashing together. You wore that rag? I gave you a card. I walked in steady heels. Early days frugality, remember? Waste not, want not. He swallowed the jab, turned back to his investors, and began retelling the myth of single-handed conquest. No mention of nights we fried CPUs until the server room smelled like burning plastic. Brianna soaked up the applause as the strategic genius who'd parachuted in to save us. I parked myself at an empty cocktail table, staring at towers of Maine and truffle mac and cheese, appetite dead. 5 years ago we shared a $10 birthday dinner in a basement studio, 1 tub of instant noodles, 2 hot dog sticks, both of which Blake slid onto my side of the lid while promising I'd never eat cheap carbs again. Tonight the hot dog sticks had evolved into crustaceans, but the man doing the plating was feeding someone else. Brianna sashayed over, red wine sloshing in a goblet. Sky, first toast to you, for everything you've done. I'll guard tech with my life. Her wrist flicked, half the glass dumped down my front. Pulled Cabernet bled through silk, trickling into my shoes. Oops. Clumsy me. The goblet hit the marble and exploded. He materialized, grabbing her hand like it was antique porcelain. Glass? Cut? Burn? She shook her head, eyes glistening. I'm fine. I just ruined Sky's dress. He exhaled, then old at me. Can't even hold a glass? She was honoring you. Silence rippled outward, phones lifted for the snap of the decade. A VC buddy chuckled, new champ, old champ, scoreboard's clear. To prove his alpha status Blake pointed at the red lake and crystal shrapnel at my feet. Sky, clean it up. Don't kill the vibe. I thought I'd misheard. Come again? He raised his voice. You heard me. Mop. Your admin services now, remember? This is literally your job. He wanted me on my knees in front of the city's entire tech press. I looked at the velvet-jacketed man I once loved and laughed, one sharp bark that startled even the string quartet. Then I bent, not to kneel, but to scoop an unopened bottle of red off the nearest table. Fine, I'll clean it up. The words had barely left my mouth when I swung my arm and smashed the bottle of red wine at his feet. Crash! Glass exploded, the dark liquid splattering up his tailored trousers and over his Italian leather shoes. The room froze. I dusted off my hands, turned, and walked away. Behind me his roar cracked the silence. Sky, have you lost your mind? If you walk out that door, don't expect another cent from me. I'm freezing your black card right now. I never looked back. The night air on my face felt deliciously cool. Back to the place he still called our home. I dragged the dusty suitcase from under the bed and started packing. Everything inside these walls made me sick. Next morning the lock clicked. He stepped in balancing a paper bag of breakfast. You're up? Bought the pan-fried buns you like, eat them while they're hot. He set the food on the table as if last night's humiliation had never happened. I drank too much, said some harsh things. Don't take it to heart. From his briefcase he pulled a thin folder and slid it toward me. Equity waiver. Sign away your voting rights, keep the dividends. Come back as VP with double salary. He gave me the soft, devoted look I once fell for and reached for my hand. Sky, I'm protecting you. The corporate jungle is brutal, the backstabbing isn't your thing. You stay gorgeous, leave the money grinding to me. Isn't that better? I stared at the waiver and almost laughed myself sick. Give up voting rights and I'm nobody. He could dilute my stake any way he wanted after that. Right then his phone on the table lit up. An iMessage from Brianna. Blakey, got rid of the washed-up hag yet? Once we grab her voting shares, the company's ours. So his protection was total confiscation. He was terrified my tech shares could block his absolute control. I looked at his flawlessly phony face, the last thread of feeling snapped. I pulled my hand back and played hesitant. Something this big, I need time to think. His grin flashed. He thought he had me. 3 days. I know you'll do the smart thing. Certain I was tamed, he patted my shoulder. I've got meetings. I'll be back for dinner. He grabbed his briefcase and hurried out. He never noticed my fever-red cheeks or the coughs shaking my ribs. I went to the hospital alone. In the crowded infusion hall I dragged my 4-pole to the restroom and watched half a tube of blood backflow. From the next cot came a sugary whine. Blakey, my finger hurts, blow on it? I turned. Brianna lay there, a tiny band-aid on her fingertip. He cupped her hand, gently blowing, face creased with concern. Good girl, all better. Later we'll go pick out a new purse. A band-aid for her paper cut, a 102-degree fever for me, and all he wanted was my signature on his paper. I snapped a photo of the scene and sent it to my lawyer. Evidence of infidelity. File for divorce. Also, call a headhunter, I need a new job. Our flagship product, Horizon, was scheduled to go live at 2 that afternoon. My team and I had pulled 6 straight months of all-nighters. It was the killer demo for the NASDAQ roadshow. But Brianna, greedy for credit, had bullied tech ops into adding her name in the final build. At 1 o'clock my phone rang non-st. Up. I picked up to him screaming, Sky. Where the hell are you? Get back here now. Horizon is hemorrhaging data, customer support lines are melting. I kept my voice level. I resigned. Brianna owns the system now. She doesn't know squat. The words shot out before he caught himself. He sucked in a breath. Sky, stop the games, I'm begging. This launch decides a 20 million round. If it tanks, we're finished. Come fix it and name your price. Half an hour later I stepped into the server room. Brianna stood sobbing at the racks while engineers circled like lost ducklings. She spotted me and immediately blamed Sky. Did you leave a back door? Why else would it crash? I ignored her, rolled a chair to the console, and let my fingers fly. Up came the operation log, screen after screen of red exceptions. Deadlock. The word came out flat. Someone rewrote the low-level concurrency model and triggered read-write collisions. I turned and locked eyes with her. The commit at 2:16, under your login, right? Brianna went white, lips trembling, no answer. He burst in, grabbing my shoulder. Forget whose fault it is, just patch it. Now. I shrugged him off. I'll patch, but I'm not taking the bullet. Whoever broke it owns it. He froze, then lowered his voice to that steel tone I knew too well. Sky, Brianna is the listed project lead. If investors see her screw up, they'll lose faith in management. You fix the bug and release a statement. Say the glitch happened because you botched the handoff. I couldn't believe my ears. You want me to tank my reputation so your girlfriend stays spotless? Do you know what a public technical failure does to a CTO? He cut me off, impatient. It's just a resume line. Sacrifice for the company and I'll make it up to you. Sign the confession and the earlier waiver is torn up, plus 5 million cash. But if you refuse? His eyes narrowed, voice ice cold. I'll sue you for trade secret theft and make sure you never work in this own again. You know I've got the lawyers and the reach. I stared at the stranger in front of me, every memory worth keeping turned to ash. Fine, I'll fix it. I pivoted to the keyboard, fingers a blur. 10 minutes later the status light flipped from red to green, data began replicating. He exhaled, confidence flooding back. See? I knew you'd put the big picture first. PR drafted the admission statement, just sign here. He shoved forward a pre-printed mea culpa blaming my negligence. Brianna had stopped crying. From behind him she shot me a smug little smile. I stood, leaving the paper untouched, and plugged a cable into my laptop. No need for signatures. Let's all watch together. The projector flared to life, filling the wall with immutable back-end logs, and the chat thread Brianna thought she had erased. Every line showed how she'd crippled Horizon to wedge her name into the codebase, bricking the servers. Bright red, user, Brianna, burning on the huge screen like a brand across his face. Gasps rippled through the investors and execs packed behind us. His smug grin shattered, rage twisted his features. Sky. Shut that down. He lunged for the power cord. I sidestepped, snatched a spare Mac keyboard off the bench, and smashed it across the server tower. Metal shrieked, clang. I picked up the microphone, and my voice carried through the entire open office. I quit. Blake, Brianna, enjoy the mess, you two pieces of trash. With that, I flung the resignation letter I'd drafted weeks ago straight into his stunned face. The moment I stepped out of the building, I didn't feel the relief I'd imagined. His retaliation arrived faster than I expected. Every one of my bank cards was frozen, the reason given, under investigation for embezzlement. The headhunters all sang the same tune. Sky, sorry, Blake warned the whole valley. Anyone who hires you is declaring war on boss. Your code's legendary, but we've got payrolls to meet, sorry. I sat on the narrow bed in my sublet, neon from Riverdale bleeding through the window. My last paycheck card, balance under $200, rested in my palm. He wanted me cornered, wanted me crawling back like a scolded dog. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. Sky? Landon here. Landon. His biggest rival, CEO of Orion. The tabloids called him a stone-cold executioner in a tailored suit. What can I do for you, Landon? I asked, wary. Word as you cratered his horizon? Amusement colored his low, steady voice. Technically, his idiot fiancé did, I corrected. The enemy of my enemy shows up with a resume. Landon chuckled. Orion's building Dawnbreaker, purpose-built to gut Horizon. His blind, I'm not. I need a chief architect. Triple your old salary, 5% tech equity. Only clause, at next month's tech summit, you put Blake under your heel. Interested? My hand trembled around the phone, not from fear, from adrenaline. Revenge ignited inside my chest like jet fuel. When do I start? Now. Cars outside. I pulled the curtain back. A black Maybach idled beneath the street lamp. I packed exactly 2 things, my Mac keyboard and the SSD drive that held my core algorithms. The city that smelled of his cologne disappeared in the rearview mirror. Day 1 at Orion, I chopped off the long hair I'd kept for 5 years. Slipped into tailored blazers and 10-centimeter stilettos. The woman in the mirror stared back, eyes razor sharp, no softness left. Dawn was the Sky who had followed Blake around debugging his disasters. Landon handed me the master keys. The entire engineering corps answered to me. Word spread, engineers who'd suffocated under Blake defected in waves. We worked like demons. Exploiting every crack in Horizon, we forged Dawnbreaker, cleaner, faster, bulletproof. Life at Boss, meanwhile, turned to hell. Without me, Horizon's bug backlog exploded. Support lines jammed with furious clients. Brianna's sole contributions were tears and demands for design. Our bags to feel better. He finally realized he hadn't lost a fiancé, he'd lost the company's technical soul. His texts flooded in. First threats, then bribes. Sky, this is treason. Lawyers will come knocking. Sky, stop the drama. CTO desk is still warm, come home. 5 years together, you can really walk away? I felt nothing. Reply, moron. Then I blacklisted the number. The annual Internet Tech Summit arrived on schedule. The industry's highest temple. Our final arena. He swept in with Brianna on his arm. He looked haggard, though the suit remained crisp. Brianna sparkled like a chandelier, sneer locked and loaded. When he turned to schmooze investors, she cornered me outside the restroom. Well, the dumped ex. New sugar daddy thinks you matter? Landon discards toys faster than upgrades. I reapplied my lipstick, unbothered. Know how villains die in movies, Brianna? I capped the tube and met her gaze in the mirror. Horizon patched yet, or did some intern copy-paste another fix? She shrieked, mascara flaking. Wait and see. He hired Silicon Valley gods, Eurodshow will bomb. I'll bring popcorn, I said, shouldering past hard enough to send her staggering. Showtime. He closed the morning as headline act. Slides lush, buzzwords thick. Live demo hit a wall, frame drops, frozen cursors. Experts in the aisle shook heads. He blamed conference Wi-Fi, voice cracking. Brianna fumbled the script, mispronouncing jargon the interns understood. So this is Boss without its queen? Hollow crown indeed. Whispers sliced like paper cuts. My turn. No slides. I opened a code editor full screen. Clean black terminal. Fingers flying, I built Dawnbreaker in real time. Live feed showed throughput triple horizons. And the deadlock that had haunted Blake for months. Gone. The hall went silent, then thunderous applause. Investors surged the stage, cards out, term sheet apps open. He and Brianna melted into the corner, ghosts at their own funeral. His stare could have I'd tungsten, I felt it on my back. Too late, I yanked the SSD, killed the display, walked off without a glance. Brianna snapped. She rushed the stage, shrieking, thief. That core is ours. Security dragged her out heels first while she clawed at the carpet. His mouth opened, some last plea, but sound died in his throat. I didn't break stride. The tech summit became the guillotine that severed his reputation for good. Boss's stock hit the limit down for the third straight day. The company bled out more than $1 billion in market cap. Investors who had shaken hands on term sheets vanished overnight, and the bank started calling in loans. The partners who once fawned over Blake now dodged his calls like he carried the plague. In this town there are no permanent friends, only permanent interests. He was ruined. I heard the news while Landon and I were toasting the first month revenue of Dawn clearing $100 million. Landon refilled my champagne. Soft spot? He asked, studying my face. Not one. I swirled the flute, watching the amber liquid climb the sides. Just nice to see gravity do its thing. Karma always punches back. After Voss collapsed, the rats scattered. Brianna looted the last $3 million in working capital and ghosted. Gossip said she also walked off with every designer bag and sparkler he had gifted her. He hunted her like a man possessed. He found her in a neon-lit club, draped across some trust fund kid, laughing so hard her diamonds rattled. Blake? That has been? If he wasn't rich, who'd crawl into that middle-aged loser's bed? Trash in the boardroom, trash between the sheets, all swagger and no stamina. He lunged to hit her. The bouncer's face planted him into the LED floor. They kicked him to the curb black and blue, a limp heap in the rain. That night a cloudburst soaked Riverdale. He dragged his bruised leg back to the mansion we once shared. The court had already slapped on the seizure tape. White paper strips screamed across the iron gate. Yes. He couldn't get in. He huddled under the eaves, drenched, shivering, staring at the bolted door. Memory ambushed him, me dyeing my own hair to save money, fingers stained pitch black, me simmering millet porridge at 3 a.m. when his ulcer flared, me squeezing his hand in our basement studio, whispering, "Relax, I'm still here." Back then he owned the rarest currency there is, pure, stupid love. He traded it for a status-hungry blonde and some laughable alpha pride. He threw away the only treasure that mattered. Sky. He croaked to the empty street. Only the cold rain answered, a ceaseless hiss of regret. He pulled out his phone to call me. I'd blacklisted him ages ago. He tried a new number, thumb hovering, but couldn't hit call. What face did he have left? He was broke, infamous, radioactive. I was Orion's headline partner, the new queen of the river. Between us now lay not just grudges but galaxies. Still, desperation has no pride. He camped outside Orion for 3 straight days, unshaven, shirt wrinkled, sour reek clinging like fog. When my car nosed out, he hurled himself at it. Security pinned him back. Sky, just 5 minutes. He slapped the tinted glass. I was wrong, so wrong. Brianna played me. I lost my head. 5 years, Sky, our 5 years. You can't torch that. The driver asked, Sky, dial 911? I lowered the window. His eyes sparked, sure mercy waited. Sky, I knew you'd loan me cash, or tell Landon to slot me in. I'll bounce back and spend my life making it up to you. I studied the beggar clawing at my door. Disgust tasted metallic on my tongue. Blake, try the mirror. This version of you? Hideous. His jaw froze mid-sob. You said you'd stand by me through anything. That was when you were worth the stand. I cut him with a voice colder than server room air. You're not even worth eye contact now. And stop romanticizing those 5 years, they're the stain I most want scrubbed from my resume. His fingers slid off the glass. The last L. I died in his pupils. You ruthless bitch, he rasped. You taught the class, I replied. The window purred shut. Drive. The car shot forward, flinging muddy rooster tails. He stumbled after us, then face planted in the gutter. A howl ripped out of him, an animal realizing the trap never opens again. Some doors close once, and close forever. Some wounds, once carved, won't scar, only gape. 1 year later, Orion rang the opening bell on NASDAQ. I stood on the balcony overlooking Times Square, my face 30 feet tall in 4K. A reporter asked, Sky, what pulled you from rock bottom to here? I smiled at the lens. One person. I'm grateful he never married me, he showed me who I really am. Women aren't footnotes, and we're definitely not decorative canaries. The sky is unlimited, I'll chart my own flight path, thanks. Back home, I was waiting at a stoplight when the world shrank. Through my window I saw him, Blake, wearing a cheap yellow vest, straddling a beat-up e-bike, insulated food bag bungee corded to the rack. He studied an order screen while some customer screamed through the speaker about delayed noodles. Sorry, 2 minutes, please don't leave a 1-star review. His spine curved like a question mark, gray flecked his temples. 30 going on 50. The light flipped green. He kicked the motor, almost clipped the curb, phone slipping. Our eyes hooked for a single second. His device hit the asphalt with a plastic crack. He didn't pick it up, just gaped at me riding leather-scented silence behind tinted glass. Shock, shame, regret, raw self-loathing, he wore them all. Instinct made him shrink, trying to dissolve into traffic. I looked away first, eyes on the road ahead. Who was that? The intern asked. Never seen him, I answered. A total stranger. We accelerated, leaving the hunched silhouette in the rearview. Same city, different altitudes, some float above clouds, others drown in puddles. End of story. After that day I never spotted Blake again. War says he drove himself so hard delivering takeout he rammed a sedan and snapped a femur. Brianna's karma wasn't prettier. The air tossed her aside, her spending habits stayed, employable skills didn't, and she landed in county lockup for wire fraud. Old coworkers recite the saga like a sitcom. I laugh, then forget before the elevator dings. I've moved into my own penthouse now. The city glitters like scattered diamonds beyond the glass. I pour myself a glass of red wine and stand at the window. In 12 months I've tasted betrayal, basement cheap despair, and resurrection in equal measures. I finally get it, security is never someone else's gift. It's zeros in your own account, the code in your head, the leverage in your fist. The girl who once sobbed into a pillow over love songs is dead. What lives is someone new, self-wired, self-signed, future unbounded. Thanks for listening. If you liked the story, smash the like and share it with a friend. Drop your take in the comments, subscribe for more, and we'll catch you next time.